Right now at 5, the Freeman Health System gives the public a lesson on health care.
We've got heat and summer storms continuing through the weekend.
Plus, the 4th of July is right around the corner, and we have some tips and tricks on how to keep you and your family safe this Independence Day.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowe.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney.
Yes, and it's finally Friday here in the 4 states. Super glad. It's been between the heat and the storms that we had in the middle of the week. I feel like we need a weekend reset.
Well, unfortunately, this weekend is not the best weekend reset because those storms continue all the way through the weekend, and unfortunately going to be some pretty gusty storms as well. So we may see some more wind damage this weekend. But right now, looking pretty good. We do have clouds increasing through the morning, and we do have some storms also rolling in later on. Going to be ending by about 8 a.m. and they're not storms, just some light showers. Good for us. We need the rain. We don't want the storms though. But right now looking pretty good. Light breeze out of the south as well. And other than that, temperature's about 74 across the region, 74 in Joplin, 71 in Pittsburgh, 76 in Welsh and Veneta, 77 out in Sedan, Yates Center. Not too bad, a little cooler out east. We do have heat advisories in that salmon color for a few of our counties out in Oklahoma and in Kansas as well, due to a heat index today getting up to 109. Now that hot pink color for Craig, Nowata, and Washington County, that is a excessive heat watch for a heat index getting up to 114 in those areas. So today it's going to be pretty hot, and we also have likely heat advisories continuing through Saturday as well, because heat indexes are forecasted to be in the triple digits again tomorrow. So we've got some rain showers pushing into mostly our north and central counties, and as of right now, nothing to be concerned about. Burlington and Garnett getting some thunder, some lightning, but overall it's looking pretty good. We're happy to have the rain. We're not really happy to have the storms that we're going to see tonight and tomorrow night. So this is welcome. We got Howard, Eureka, Yates Center, all getting some showers coming up. Fredonia, Chanute, Independence, Parsons, Coffeyville, and Mound City all going to get the rain as it passes northeast of us, and it'll continue and start to die out in the next couple of hours, and it's not going to be too strong, so we're happy about this. But like I said, we've got some storms rolling in tonight and throughout the rest of the weekend that could be strong to severe, and I'll talk more about it in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, Oklahoma's school superintendent wants to incorporate the Bible and the 10 Commandments in state classrooms. The announcement came at a state board of education meeting in response to a key ruling from the state Supreme Court. Ryan Walters is calling for every Oklahoma classroom, 5th grade through 12th, to have a Bible, and says teachers must instruct from it in grades 5 through 12.
The Bible is a necessary historical document to teach our kids about the history of this country, to have a complete understanding of Western civilization, to have an understanding of the basis of our legal system, and is frankly, when we're talking about the Bible, one of the most foundational documents used for the Constitution and the birth of our country.
Oklahoma's biggest court this week blocked an attempt to create the nation's first publicly funded religious charter school. The Oklahoma Education Association yesterday issued a response saying in part, quote, teaching about the historical context of religion and the Bible is permissible. However, teaching religious doctrine is not permissible. Public schools cannot indoctrinate students with a particular religious belief or religious curriculum. The state superintendent cannot usurp local control and compel education professionals to violate the Constitution, end quote. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. With the 4th of July right around the corner, first responders are warning about the dangers surrounding fireworks. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has tips and tricks to keep you and your family safe.
America's birthday. A day to celebrate our independence and remember the origins of our country. It can also be a day of injuries if you're not careful.
The key to shooting fireworks off safely is being prepared. You want to have an open area away from buildings, away from your vehicles, away from tall grass to shoot your fireworks. But even before that, you want to make sure you have a bucket of water or a charged hose line, something that if a firework does go ahead and catch fire, you're able to put it out, or once they are spent, you're able to soak them in that water before you dispose of them into your trash cans.
According to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, 9,700 injuries were related to fireworks last year. 1,500 of those were from firecrackers and sparklers alone.
The minor burns is the biggest thing. I think people do try to be safe. Sometimes accidents do happen. That's why they're accidents.
It's important to keep your small children and pets away from dangerous fireworks. However, there are still ways for them to get in on the fun.
We have snappers, snakes, little stuff like that. The tanks are good. We also will give you punks that can kind of prevent them from getting burned or stuff like that. If they want to, maybe light a firework or something, that's really good to give the kids. That way they feel like they're doing something.
All fireworks have warning labels that tell you exactly what they do. Some fireworks stores, like here at Jake's, will even allow you to scan your firework, and it'll allow you to preview it so you can know whether or not it meets your needs before you set it off. Once you're done buying your fireworks, don't worry. If you still have questions, the employees will be able to answer them, and you get free punks along with every firework purchase. As to when you can set off your fireworks, each city has their own rules.
Just check with your local ordinances, and they can give you a clear, defined time of when you can and can't shoot off your fireworks.
Once you have what you need to light your fireworks safely, you can let the fun begin. Just make sure to douse and dispose of properly. Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
For more safety tips before you celebrate, be sure to look on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. The Grand River Dam Authority has a caution for people heading to a lake or river for the July 4th holiday. Boat safe, smart, and sober. The holiday is typically one of the busiest times on the water, and the GRDA police say they'll be out in full force to perform patrols, assist boaters, and of course, promote safe outings. Among their tips, wear a life jacket, don't boat or float alone, and don't drink and boat. They say most serious boating accidents involve alcohol. Well, Freeman's week-long summer program is exposing teenagers to a variety of roles in the medical field in Joplin. Students learn about bacteria, hospital functions, and even how to stop a bleed. 28 students are enrolled in Freeman's Health Academy, and organizers say the program has been growing ever since its return in 2023.
I see so many different areas that you only kind of hear about. You don't get to go and get up close and more hands-on. So that was really cool. And then we also are doing growing cultures for the lab, and so that is cool also.
Freeman Health Academy will have 2 week-long sessions in July. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. A former Pitt State gorilla is 1 step away from heading to the Olympics. Plus, doctors in the UK go on strike just days before the general election. And rain chances return. We'll have what to expect with Lindsay Gaffney in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Two Pittsburgh State alumni compete last night in the semifinals of the 110-meter hurdles at the U.S. Olympic Trials in Eugene, Oregon. Cordell Tinch and Lewis Rawlings, both of whom earned their spot in the semis by finishing top 18 in the first round on Monday. Cordell Tinch finishes in second place in the first heat with a time of 13.19 seconds. That's good enough to send him through to the finals tomorrow night. Rawlings just misses on qualifying for the finals, and he finishes with a time of 13.33, which is a personal best and only 0.06 of a second behind the final qualifying time. If Tinch finishes in third place or better in the finals, he advances to the Olympics as part of Team USA. Yesterday morning, Webb City welcomed a new business named Tea Time with a climate-controlled driving range, outdoor pickleball courts, along with a full bar and restaurant. Its owners say yesterday's ribbon cutting was a long time coming.
4 years ago, we had the concept, and we were sitting there at a coffee shop dropping greenhouse, and Kellen just said, "Hey, let's do Topgolf," and I kind of thought he was crazy. I said, we should start smaller, maybe just a driving range. So we agreed to that, and then we ended up just adding to it, and eventually this is kind of where we ended up, and I think it's well worth it.
We had so many no's along the way, so many hoops to jump through, but there's a lot of people in this community that rallied for this project, and for it to be here today is just completely surreal.
Meanwhile, in the Mink League, the Nevada Griffins fall to the defending champs from Jefferson City. Final score 5-1. These two play each other again tonight. Now to Major League Baseball, the Cardinals get walloped at home by the Reds, 11-4 final score in the first game of that series. Over at Kauffman Stadium, the Royals get a very important win last night. They beat the All-Central leading Guardians 2-1. Well, still to come, centers in the U.S. say drug shortages are still an issue. A check of the 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Well, today it's looking pretty good this morning. We do have a few showers pushing through this afternoon or later on this morning, but out in 7th and Rangeline. As of right now, we got a few clouds rolling in, but not too bad. So if you're starting your day at this moment, it's a good time to do so. But in the next couple of hours, we're going to have some showers passing through. We've also got an excessive heat warning, and that is in the hot pink area. So that's Craig, Nowata, and Washington County, and that is for heat index getting up to 114 degrees today, and that's until 9 p.m. tonight. Then we've got a heat advisory that's in that lighter color, the salmon, for a couple of our counties out in Oklahoma and Kansas as well, and that's from until Friday 8 p.m. tonight due to heat index getting up to 108. So going to be a pretty hot day today. Likely it'll continue tomorrow. We see heat index still in the triple digits as we move into Saturday, so we'll likely see some more heat advisories in the next couple of hours or even early tomorrow morning. Now we've had some showers passing through, and as you can see, not too strong, although out in Garnet, Burlington, got some thunderstorms, some lightning, but nothing too crazy. We're not looking at anything severe with any of these storms, but the rain is welcomed. We definitely need those rain showers, especially with the heat that we're dealing with and the drought conditions that we're likely going to get back into by the end of the summer. The rain is definitely welcome. So Fredonia, Chanute now starting to get a few showers. Yates Center, Iola, Garnett, Howard, Eureka, and then Independence. These showers are going to continue to move northeast. Independence, Parsons, Fort Scott, Mound City, Butler is coming up next. But all of our counties, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Joplin, Carthage, Lamar, all of them are going to get some rain this morning. So we are expecting to get rain, at least if you're in Kansas and Missouri as well. But it doesn't look like it's really going to pass through any Oklahoma counties. Now, we do have that heat advisory and excessive heat watch for our areas today. A little bit cooler than what it was forecasted for. 95, 96 for our high out in Joplin, 91 in Pittsburgh, so a little bit warmer in Pittsburgh. Still 101 in Sedan, Independence 98, and then Veneta 96, Grove 98. Not too bad for today, but that humidity values, especially with the rain that we're getting, as it starts to evaporate, it's going to be really muggy today, really hot, and then as we move into tomorrow, even hotter. So we're forecasted nearly hitting 100 degrees, although likely going to be a bit cooler in that, a couple degrees. So out in Joplin, it's forecasted for 100. This is just a model, so likely only going to get up to 97, 98, and still going to be hotter in our southwestern counties, possibly reaching 100 degrees, but cooler out in our eastern counties, and that'll continue. We'll cool back off, and as the storms continue over the weekend, we'll have a couple of cool days before we really start to warm back up ahead of the midweek next week, just in time for 4th of July. Now, today we've got those partly cloudy skies. These showers are likely going to be over by 9 a.m., but they're pretty scattered, and especially in our northern counties. So starting off about 80 degrees by 9 a.m. and then we'll continue to warm up, nearly hitting 90 by noon. And like I said, with the humidity and the evaporation from these rain showers, it's going to feel pretty hot. So we've got these chances of rain tonight, starting couple chances as early as 11 p.m., but we really see that line of storms coming through and the overnight hours, isolated in nature, and then we've got another chance tomorrow night. Then isolated storms late, starting after about 3 a.m. Now, we've got the chance for a stronger storm to come in 8:39 p.m. and we're mainly concerned about wind for this. As you can see, we've got a nice gust front, so it's going to be a pretty gusty day today. Those scattered thunderstorms continue well into the overnight hours. We've got elevated risk for hail and wind as well, and that's what our main concern is for tonight. Now, we can't rule out anything else, but we also have the same cold front retreats and returns back to us tomorrow and Sunday, so we've got chances of scattered thunderstorms and isolated thunderstorms all weekend long, and then we'll clear up and warm up just ahead of 4th of July storms. We'll have more news after this.
Well, topping Health Watch this morning, the Supreme Court formally made a ruling that allows for emergency abortions in Idaho yesterday morning. The decision to block enforcement of Idaho's strict abortion ban was inadvertently posted on the High Court's website on Wednesday. The High Court dismissed an appeal about Idaho's strict abortion law, which bans the procedure in nearly all cases unless the mother's life is at risk. The justices voted 6-3 to allow emergency abortions to take place in Idaho on a temporary basis while the case continues through lower courts. It lets stand an opinion from the full 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, and the leak of the document was first discovered by Bloomberg. Many found it stunning, as the Supreme Court is typically careful to safeguard its releases. Well, cancer centers in the U.S. say drug shortages are still an issue, impacting different varieties of oncology medications. This despite an improvement in the shortage of chemotherapy drugs, cisplatin and carboplatin. The data comes from the survey results released Wednesday by the National Comprehensive Cancer Network. Among 28 large cancer centers, 89% reported last month they had short supplies of at least one drug used for cancer, its symptoms, or the side effects of treatment. That's not much different from last year, when about 86% of surveyed centers reported a shortage of at least one type of anti-cancer drug. What is different is which cancer drugs are impacted. More than half of the centers reported shortages of the chemotherapy drug vinblastine, used in lymphoma and testicular cancer. Well, it's a push to make social media safer. Last week, the U.S. Surgeon General suggested a tobacco-style warning label after what he called a mental health crisis in young people. Mandy Gaither has tips on how to help keep children and teens to use social media safely.
When it comes to social media and mental health, the full impact is still unclear, but early research suggests it can affect a child's self-esteem, self-image, communication skills, and so much more.
Kids might be able to connect with others that they normally wouldn't connect with. They might have an opportunity to learn about something new, but we also know that there are dangers that come with social media use.
Licensed therapist Jody Baumstein with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta says adults can help children and teens use social media safely by setting clear limits and being consistent. Having open, honest conversations about social media use, talking about the potential impact it has on mental health, and recognizing signs of social media use problems, especially if it appears there's a loss of control.
They are going to great lengths to try to gain access to it. They are using it in a really excessive way, hours and hours and hours, not being able to put it down, feeling like it has control over them. They might be withdrawing from friends and activities they used to love. It might be impacting their ability to just engage in daily functions.
Baumstein says that's when parents should step in and help children find some balance, encouraging other activities besides being on their phone.
We want them to have balance. We want them to feel like their life is more than just one thing, and that if they don't have that one thing, everything's falling apart.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Baumstein says when setting limits on social media, focus on what the child gains, including more time with friends in person or doing things they love to do away from their phone. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got heat advisories continuing throughout the day today. Heat advisory and excessive heat watch as well. Not to mention we've got a few showers pushing through this morning, and storm chances return tonight, tomorrow night, and Sunday as well. We'll talk about it in just a bit.
Right now at 5:30, young area musicians took part in a workshop at Pittsburgh State.
And we're continuing to deal with heat and summer storms throughout the rest of the weekend.
Plus, the public rolled into the Skateland Fun Center of Neosho last night for a good time and a good cause.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:31. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney.
Yes, and it's Friday, which I am happy about. I know there's going to be storms.
Yeah.
But who doesn't love the weekend?
Unfortunately, this weekend is a little bit messy. We've got storms,
Right.
We've got heat. I mean, it's summertime, and it really packing
is.
the heat.
It certainly
no pun
is.
intended. Anyways, we've got some storms rolling through currently. Rain showers off on our western counties, but they're going to continue to move in. And luckily, we're not looking at anything severe with these storms, just the rain, which we need the rain because with the heat paired with the dry conditions that we're going to see for the rest of the summer, drought conditions are imminent. So all the rain that we can get, I'm happy for. I'm not so happy with the storms that we're going to see tonight and throughout the rest of the weekend. But right now we've got cloudy skies and it's about 74 degrees out there. Good visibility currently, although when the showers roll in, probably going to drop off on visibility, and that'll be happening in the next couple of hours. We've got a light breeze out of the southeast as well. So temperatures across the region, cooler out in the eastern counties, 68 in Cassville, Monette 69, but warmer in the west, 76 in Oswego, 75 in Parsons, 74 in Independence, 74 in Joplin as well. Not too bad out there. We're going to continue to warm up because we do have heat advisories issued for most of our counties out in Kansas and a couple of our counties out in Oklahoma. That's due to a heat index getting up to 108 degrees today, and that lasts until about 8 p.m. Now we also have in that hot pink color a excessive heat watch, which is a little bit worse than a heat advisory, and that is due to a heat index getting up to 114 in those counties today. We also have the chance that these heat advisories will continue tomorrow as well due to humidity and temperatures warming up. Now, we've got these showers pushing through, a little lightning, a little thunder, especially in some of our far northern counties. But overall, it's just going to be some heavy rain showers as they pass northeast of us. Pittsburgh going to get some rain, Nevada going to get some rain. Joplin may get a few showers as well, and likely clearing by about 9 a.m. We're going to keep watching this, and we've got some more storms returning tonight and throughout the rest of the weekend. We'll talk about it in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, the public rolled into the Skateland Fun Center of Neosho last night for a good time and a good cause. The event raised money for the Children's Miracle Network, which helps local children and families with medical needs, such as prescriptions, medical equipment, and specialty care. A $10 entry fee got people in the door, and all proceeds went to CMN.
The money goes to whether they need gas to go to Kansas City, do they need lodging to stay there for long periods of time. It goes to any kind of surgeries or special therapies, anything like that. Children's Miracle Network covers 100%.
Children's Miracle Network means the world to us because Vincent was born with multiple health issues, and because of Children's Miracle Network, we have a seizure monitor, and that's something I could never have afforded without their help.
Every dollar raised locally stays local, and donations help children and their families in 14 counties in Missouri, Oklahoma, and Kansas. The Lamar City Park hosted a community picnic. The event takes place on the fourth Thursday of every month, March through October, except for August. It features food trucks, live music, games, and more.
It's to build a sense of community, to have a chance to see people you may not always see, enjoy some local food trucks, and just fellowship together.
The next picnic in the park will take place July 25th. Well, young area musicians took part in a workshop. Pitt State hosted the first day of its string camp, which focuses on stringed instruments. Yesterday, they focused on technique and rehearsing. It'll all accumulate later today in a concert for family and friends.
It's the opportunity for you to get to meet other people who are passionate about the same type of things, and so then they hopefully build these friendships that can foster their growth as a musician and as a human being.
And that concert will be at 6 p.m. today at the Bicknell Family Center for the Arts. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The violence continues in Kenya over controversial new tax hikes that have been shelved. Plus, the San Diego Zoo is currently on Panda Watch. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch, a healthcare crisis in the UK as doctors go on strike just days before the general election. Junior doctors staged their 11th walkout yesterday in an ongoing dispute with the government over pay and working conditions. They rallied outside St. Thomas's Hospital in London across from the House of Parliament. Some wore orange t-shirts and hats and handed out stickers. The 5-day strike by doctors in the early years of their career shines a spotlight on Britain's state-funded public health system, the National Health Service. Well, the violence continues in Kenya over controversial new tax hikes that have been shelved. Kenyan police fired tear gas at dozens of protesters in Nairobi yesterday and blocked off streets where demonstrators have been rallying against the finance bill. Soldiers are seen patrolling the streets where at least one woman appeared to be injured. Some protesters vowed to continue their fight even though President William Ruto refused to sign off on the bill after it sparked deadly chaos in the capital. On Tuesday, hundreds of demonstrators stormed a part of the Parliament building and set it on fire. More than a dozen people were killed in the violence. Well, 2 giant pandas from China are moving to the U.S. Zara Barker reports.
We are on Panda Watch here at the San Diego Zoo. They're actually one of the rarest mammals in the entire world, with less than 2,000 of them left in the wild. And here pretty soon, you'll be able to see 2 of them at the San Diego Zoo.
Really? They're coming to San Diego? That's amazing.
It's pandemonium at the San Diego Zoo as they're getting ready to welcome these 2 giant pandas. 4-year-old male Yun Xuan and 3-year-old female Xin Bao said goodbye to their home Wednesday at the China Conservation and Research Center for giant pandas alongside representatives from the zoo and Mayor Todd Gloria.
Once the pandas arrive in San Diego, they'll begin an acclimation period. That acclimation period is going to tell us how they're doing, how they're settling in, and then we'll be able to share an opening date with the public.
I'm really excited about the pandas. It's a great new addition, so I'm just really excited. They're really adorable too.
Yun Xuan's mom was born at the San Diego Zoo back in 2007. The San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance has had a nearly 3 decades long conservation partnership with institutions in China.
We're going to build build upon the successes of our first cooperative agreement for giant panda conservation. There are still challenges for giant pandas, and we're really focused on a sustained recovery of giant pandas in their native habitat.
The giant pandas typically live up to 20 years in the wild, are about 4 to 5 feet tall, and can weigh about 250 pounds. The San Diego Zoo sent its last pandas back to China in 2019 and have been preparing a new habitat inspired from their native ranges.
Our giant panda habitat has gone through an absolute transformation. The size of the habitat is, I believe it's quadrupled, maybe even quintupled. It's enormous. And we've also incorporated a lot of topographic features that are just going to make for a very exciting and engaging habitat for the giant pandas.
Now, we don't know exactly when these two pandas will be arriving here in San Diego, but we do know that they were on their way after that ceremony in China earlier today. We are expecting them to be acclimated for a couple of weeks, and then a debut date will be announced by zoo officials. And of course, we'll keep you updated on that.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
We've got a nice looking sunrise out in 7th and Rangeline. However, it's not going to be long lasting because we do have clouds starting to push into the area ahead of some rain showers. Now, we've also got an excessive heat warning. That's in that hot pink color, and that is until 9 p.m. tonight due to a heat index getting up to 114 degrees today. That's heat, the temperature added on to humidity values, putting that heat index up to 114. That's what it's going to feel like. Then we've got a heat advisory, which is in that tan, pale pinkish color, and that's until about 8 p.m. tonight. And that's due to a heat index getting up to 108 in those counties. So it's going to be a pretty hot day today, and that continues tomorrow. So we'll likely see this heat advisory extend into the weekend as well. Now we've got these showers pushing through most of our north and central counties, although Bartlesville getting a little rain as well. Now we have probably some thunder in some of these storms out in Howard, Fredonia, Eureka, but we could definitely see the lightning that passed through Garnet, Burlington, heading just north of Mound City, and those showers are starting to push into the Mound City area. Fort Scott, Parsons, Independence, and it'll continue over northwest, so Pittsburgh, Nevada, Butler, those are going to continue for the next couple of hours before they start to die down. We're not looking at anything severe, but the rain is welcome, especially when we don't have any severe threats with it. However, that's not the case for tonight or the rest of the weekend. Pairing the summer storms with the heat, we're going to have a pretty eventful weekend. Temperatures today getting up to about 95 in Joplin, 91 in Pittsburgh. So forecasted a little bit cooler as we're getting a little bit closer to these times, but still pretty hot out in the west. 101 in Sedan, 98 in Independence, and at Neodesha 92. A little cooler in the northern counties, Yates Center 89, Nevada, Fort Scott, Iola 90. Not too bad, but like I said, pair with those humidity values, it's going to feel like it's in the triple digits. And then as we move into tomorrow, this is still a model, so likely it'll be a couple of degrees cooler than this. So Joplin model says 100. It'll likely be up to about 98. Not to mention with the humidity values, it's still going to feel like it's in the triple digits. And you can see Western County is going to be a lot hotter than the eastern counties. Monette, Cassville, 96, Stockton, 98. And those continue. We do cool off on Sunday after a few of these rain showers and thunderstorms have passed by. So tonight, after about 11 p.m., we've got those isolated storms pushing through into the early overnight hours. Saturday morning, they'll drop down, but we've got some scattered thunderstorm and scattered shower chances all the way through early afternoon on Saturday. Then we see that spike back up to Saturday evening. It's going to rain, especially out in the Joplin area. We'll take a look at that as well in just a few minutes. Now tonight, we've got those isolated thunderstorms late after about 3 a.m., but we do have a chance for a storm to pass through those northeastern counties a little bit earlier today. Main threat with that is going to be wind. Now, temperatures dropping down to mid-60s. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we've got these showers pushing through. Going to clear out about 9 a.m. This is that storm that has the potential to move through a little bit earlier today, 8:39 p.m. And as you can see, it bows out a little bit. So main threat is going to be wind gusts. And as you can see, we've got a nice gust front as well. You can see these clouds and it's not actually rain. That's just what the model is picking up on, but it's really just really strong winds ahead of these scattered thunderstorms that are going to be passing in those northeastern counties. That'll continue into the early morning hours on Saturday, 3 a.m. And we're going to keep seeing those storms until early Saturday morning. After that, we clear out until more storms return Saturday night with the same system. It's going to retreat and bring us some more rain. Main threat's going to be hail and winds. Like I said, that we saw that first storm is going to be mainly wind threats. We saw that gust front, so strong wind gusts up to 45, 50 miles per hour. And as we saw earlier in the week, winds can be just as damaging as tornadoes in the summertime. So still could be pretty severe storms tonight. We've got those evening storms tomorrow, isolated storms throughout the early morning hours and then again in the evening. And those chances continue into Sunday and Monday. Then we'll heat back up just in time for the 4th of July. Now we'll have more news after this.
Well, today in entertainment news, 2 comedy legends and a lost Johnny Cash album. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
Hello out there, this is planet Earth, calling, 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 calling.
Songwriter is a collection of demos Johnny Cash recorded more than 30 years ago but never released. The video for Hello Out There was filmed at the Tennessee cabin where Cash would write and record, and features his youngest granddaughter, Grace, exploring her grandparents' personal belongings. Songwriter is out today. Ricky Gervais has announced a new comedy world tour. Mortality is set to launch later this year and run through the end of 2025. It'll be filmed for a Netflix special like his last stand-up show, Armageddon, which won a Golden Globe. Happy birthday, Mel Brooks. The National Medal of the Arts recipient and Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony winner turns 98 today. And he's still going strong, working on a sequel to his sci-fi comedy, Spaceballs. Rewatching Blazing Saddles yet again in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
An underground mine collapse led to the closure of an Illinois soccer complex after the cave-in created a massive sinkhole that took the playing field with it. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
An enormous 100-foot wide sinkhole swallowed up a large section of an Illinois soccer field, and the colossal cave-in was actually caught on camera. Alton Parks and Recreation released video showing the moment the ground gave way, taking with it a light pole and a huge section of the field. A local construction company says an underground working mine collapsed, causing the unexpected cave-in, which thankfully resulted in no injuries. Park management immediately took to social media, warning locals to stay away while they conduct an investigation of the surreal sunken situation. A rare roller coaster dilemma unfolded in California when the 100-year-old Giant Dipper coaster had to be evacuated mid-ride. Officials say a rider experienced a medical emergency inside the loading station, forcing a halt of the ride altogether. That visitor was transported to a hospital, but the 2-hour delay forced others to hoof it down from a train stopped atop the wooden coaster's 6-story hill. All were safely removed, and the ride resumed operations later that day. Finally, just ahead of some festive 4th of July fun, authorities in California say a recent bust has uncovered the largest single seizure of illegal fireworks in state history. Police say it took 5 big rig trailers to remove 75 tons of illegal fireworks found in a Gardena warehouse. 3 people were arrested in connection with the contraband, which police say has an estimated street value of up to $10 million, more than double the previous largest bust. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Stick around, we'll be right back. Competitive eater Joey Chestnut will be celebrating the nation's birthday by doing what he does best, eating hot dogs. However, it won't be in New York. Instead, the Nathan's famous hot dog eating champion and world record holder will be competing against some soldiers at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. It will be part of the Army base's annual Pop Goes the Fort Independence Day celebration. In accepting the invite, Chestnut wrote on social media, quote, "Bring me your best 4 eaters and I'll take them down combined." Well, speaking of food, here's a great way to close out the week. Take a walk outside and down the street with your hunger and find a food truck. Today is the day to celebrate National Food Truck Day. The annual day got its start in 2016, led by the group Roaming Hunger. It's aimed to support and encourage the hardworking men and women whose neighborhood and mobile food businesses support the local economy. Food trucks actually date back to the 17th century when vendors traded food from small carts and movable mini kitchens.
Well, we're looking ahead. We've got some storms rolling in tonight. We are continuing those showers throughout the early morning hours. We've also got a heat advisory and a excessive heat watch for most of our western counties. That's due to heat index getting up to 109 to 114. So it's going to be pretty hot and humid today. And then we've got those strong storms rolling through this evening and overnight hours. Now that cold front that's bringing the storms tonight will retreat and return, giving us some more storm chances Saturday night and Sunday as well. We start to cool off on Sunday before we start to warm back up Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, getting into 100-degree range Tuesday and Wednesday, right ahead of the 4th of July. Now, we've got some scattered thunderstorm chances forecasted for the 4th of July, but we'll keep an eye on those. Hopefully, they'll either delay or move ahead so we can have a nice holiday.